Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. So, anyways, welcome to the Mikestand. We're of course gonna wait a few minutes, give people a chance. All right. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and give people a chance to come in. Hopefully, and as we're waiting for people to come in, I will go ahead and put some music on while we wait. Take care of a couple of things. When I get back, we'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. Hey, Shadowhawk, I just happened to see you at the corner of my eye there when I was checking my other screens there. So, anyways, hopefully you're doing well. We're just waiting, giving people a chance to come in here before we get started. Let's see. All right. There we go. All right, so we'll see. We'll wait to see. Hopefully, you guys had a well, I know I left after a while there, but hopefully you guys had a good show the rest of that time. Um, so anyways, I'm good. I'll hang for a bit. Yeah. Shadowhawk, as you know, Rex scheduled to be with me tomorrow night on for the historical comic retrospect. Um, but he said that he might have to work, and he was going to suggest maybe having you fill in for him. So I'll probably be sending you the StreamYard link tomorrow night just in case um, he can't make it. So if you want to pop in tomorrow night and hang out and look over some old comics and stuff like that and comment on them, um, more than welcome to. So just want to give you a heads up on that. Um, that's at least what he was telling me. He might ask you to fill in for him if he can't make it because of work. So, um, anyways, all right. Well, with two of us here now, I guess I can go for great stream. If anyone missed it, Mike Barron and Critical Blast. Okay. Okay, I think you have a. I think I did give you a rent. So if you want to share any links, Shadowhawk, feel free to do so. No problem, Mike. Be happy to. All right. All right. So, anyways, with that, so I'll go over what I'm gonna go over tonight. So I'm gonna go over a couple of articles from Bleeding Fool tonight. Um, of course, one of them being the passing of John Romita Sr. That will be the second article. The first article, Ron Martz has some, I guess, some choice words for those who have basically been critical of Jason Arnold's, or not Jason, but Jason Aaron's direction of the Punisher. So we're going to be looking at that as well. So So hopefully, I just need to go off camera just one more time here to just do something real quick. I'll be right back, but I'll put some music on while I'm gone. Then we'll get going on. All right. So with all that being said and done, let's go ahead and take a look back at, or I'm sorry. ah, and thank you for the like and the share, by the way, Shadowhawk. Anyways, let me just do one more quick little thing, and then we will get going here. Let's see. All right, so with that, alrighty then. So let's go ahead and now get started here. With that, all that being said, alrighty then. So here we go. Here's the first article we're going to look at tonight. Comics writer Ron Martz attacks Marvel Comics Punisher fans. Article by Avi Green published earlier today. So let's take a look at this. So this is Avi speaking here. I found this bizarre tweet by Ron Martz that supposedly defends the Punisher, but it's really just a lot of phoniness for the sake of more stealth attacks on conservatives. So this this is the tweet in question, I guess. Ron Martz saying the Punisher isn't problematic. He's a bad guy we root for because he kills worse bad guys. The problem is the dummies in jacked pickups festooned with Punisher stickers who don't grasp that the Punisher is a bad guy. So that was the tweet in question, I guess. And then this is Avi responding to that tweet in a way. Oh, what is this? Some kind of moral relativism? If he says Frank's a baddie, that's only saying what the rest of the SJWs actually want to hear. That Castle's nothing more than a villain from beginning to end, and probably no different from the Joker. And again, and of course, if you guys have been paying attention to some of the episodes of the historical comic books, we've talked a little bit about this with Namor too, and how he was depicted early on. As I often, now granted, there's a big difference between how Namor was written early on and what's going on with the Punisher here. So, anyways. Not so. Frank wanted to avenge his family being murdered by mobsters and prevent further innocents from being victimized by violent criminals. Much like much like Batman. The only difference is that Frank Castle uses guns to do it. The Joker, by contrast, is a psycho who relishes in murdering innocents and even criminals he decides are expendable, and has cost the lives of far more innocent people than Frank Castle ever did. Why won't these unendurable scriptwriters ever understand that? Because they don't want to. They want to push an agenda. That's the quick answer right there. So, hey, JR. And if you guys haven't already, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So, JR says, of course, hail Lord Xena and hail hail Lord Xenu and hail Princess Xena are our only true saviors. Okay. So, anyways. Oh, with that being said, let's continue on with the article here. And this one ended up being a pretty short article, but still. And again, let's remember that it's the fault of the writers for any mistakes made with the Punisher. And to ignore that is cheap. But probably unsurprising when writers within industry proper keep taking the tired route. If this is how Mars is going to comment on the issue, then not only is any fandom he has for the Punisher questionable, it's also worth wondering when is he going to retire from writing comics. He's not doing the industry's reputation any favors with the way he goes about writing statements that are little more than an attack on fan bases. Well, that's a pretty quick article here. And of course, I'll have the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history too, just as a reminder to everybody as well. Towards the end of the night here, towards the end of the hour. Anyways, and here's the other article I was going to go over today. This one I'm thinking might be a little longer, but anyways, here we go with this one. Comics legend John Romita Sr. dead at 93 years. Article by Avi Green published earlier today, and of course, I know Rex talked about him earlier today on his show. On two of his shows. So this is Avi speaking here. NDTV reports one of Marvel's most famous artists has passed away at 93. So the dude lived a pretty long life there. Legendary comic artist John Romita Sr., so this is from the article, who created most iconic Marvel characters like Mary Jane Watson, the Punisher, and Wolverine, has died at 93. BBC reported his death was announced Tuesday night on Twitter by his son John Romita Jr., who is also a successful comic book artist. Quote, I say with a heavy heart, my father passed away peacefully in his sleep. He is a legend in the art world, and it would be my honor to follow in his footsteps. Please keep your thoughts and condolences here out of respect for my family. He was the greatest man I ever met, unquote, Romita Jr. wrote. And then I guess Bleeding Full replied to John Romita Jr.'s tweet with this. Thank you, John Romita Sr., for all the wonderful entertainment and beauty that you provided. Comic book fandom over the many years as artist creator. Let's see. And then so let's see. So there's Avi responding here. I think Ross Andrew was the artist who co-created, and again typo there, co-creative. I think he meant to say co-created. The Punisher, and Romita was one of the art editors at the time. But all the same, you could surely make an argument today's PC crowd has no ability to appreciate all the difficult work Romita went through to get Frank Castle developed at the time he originally debuted in Spider-Man, where Romita was famous for giving Mary Jane an actual face and image after she'd only been featured indirectly in Steve Ditko's renditions. It's brought up again a bit further into the article. So here's another portion of the article. Let me just see if anybody's commenting on anything yet. No, nothing new. It doesn't look like. Anyways, from 1966, he worked with Marvel editor-in-chief Stan Lee on The Amazing Spider-Man, helping to become the company's top seller. Characters like Spider-Man's love interest, Mary Jane Watson, and his adversary, Punisher, were also introduced by him. And this is Avi's statement here. And the sad part, no veterans all these years have ever made a serious effort to speak out in defense of MJ, let alone Frank. That's how disaster ultimately winds up happening. Face it, Tiger. You just hit the. Yeah, I remember. It's kind of funny because I remember Sarah Balanstinos, who voiced Mary Jane in the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, delivered that line then. So, and the sad part. Okay, yeah, that was a repeat of what we just saw there. um, let's see. Romita Sr. will definitely remain one of Marvel's most iconic artists and art supervisors, and a guy to really appreciate. But it's a shame much of his work since has been watered down horribly, and nobody tries to convince modern audiences why he's worth admiring. Our sincerest condolences to the Romita family, his loved ones, friends, and fans. All right, so that one went pretty quick too. All right, so we might actually have. Let's see, where are we at time wise here? Actually, we're not even at the 20-minute mark yet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna go through a few stories on, maybe go through two, depending on how long they take for me to go through. I'll go through maybe two or three stories from Bounding into Comics. Wasn't sure if I would or not tonight because a lot of times these articles take a lot of time to go through, but those two articles were real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to see what we can do here. Starting back with a Little Mermaid article I was going to do the other day, but just more or less ran out of time to do it. So we'll start with that one and then see what we can get through here. Because with me, of course, doing that special episode yesterday, there's a lot of news items that kind of happened over the past couple of days here. So we'll start with this story and then see how far we get, in maybe the next 15, 20 minutes here. So let's see what we can do here. Alrighty then. All right, so this is going to be the third article I was going to do on Tuesday, but I just simply ran out of time, and I was going to move it to we whenever we So in smaller quotes here, the Little Mermaid fan artist accused of racism, whitewashing for drawing classic Ariel in scene from live action remake. Article by Nerdigans, Art Censorship, June 13th. So basically, they kind of went back to the classic look, and they're the ones being called racist. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? Let's get into this. In yet another example of just what happens when identity politics are given any amount of leeway, a fan artist has been accused of whitewashing Halle Berry's version of The Little Mermaid after illustrating a piece depicting the original animated version of Ariel in a scene featured exclusively in the live action remake. I don't know. I think that in doing the live action, they blackwashed Ariel in the first place. So I think it's just reversing course. It's undoing the proverbial damage that they were doing. Let's see. Born from artist Kamilu's love of both versions of the film, the piece in question sees the animated Ariel and her beloved sidekick Flounder recreating a shot from the live-action film's performance of, in smaller quotes, Under the Sea, wherein Bailey's version of the fictional mermaid can be seen, in smaller quotes, landing, smaller quote, on a bed of pink jellyfish. I think that's supposed to be Barry, but not Bailey. But sharing their art to Twitter on May 30th, Kamilu proudly declared, quote, really loved this moment in the live action movie. Excuse me a moment, folks. I forgot. That's one thing I forgot to do that I got to start remembering too, is put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'll put some music on for a quick moment while I take care of that. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right, sorry about that. And I also had to get some more light in here as I had to shade my windows and mirror because the sun had come out right as right before the show started, And now we're back to overcast. Here at like 6:25 here on the West Coast in California. Anyways, getting back to the article here. Let's see. Quote. And I in brackets wanted to draw a cartoon Ariel in this image. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's being racist at all. I think that's just people being stupid who say it is. Yet, despite Kami Lu specifically stating that her piece was intended to pay tribute to both the Little Mermaid films, even going so far as to reply to their original tweet with a specific live action shot they had taken inspiration from, numerous fans of the recent remake disingenuously accused the artist of racism for drawing the white Ariel in a shot exclusive to Bailey's incarnation. All right. Is it Halle Bailey or Halle Berry who's a star of it, I guess? Halle Bailey. Okay. That was Halle Berry, but all right. Original. Oh, Babes, this is shady considering the hate Halle has received because of her race, skin color playing Ariel. At Sunset. Oh, God. Sunset. Okay, that's a very interesting handle to go by. Oh, God. Declared. And no wonder they don't, when names like that, no wonder people don't want to take these people seriously. Quote, and the original animated version and tons of fan art already have Ariel like this. It looks good, but the fact that you get to be oblivious as to why this is sort of weird is telling. No, the weird one is you responding like this. Quote, sorry, this just give dog whistle to me, unquote. At Fendi Wang 852 accused, quote, draw OG Ariel all you want, but during opening week, I feel like this is a choice. Cartoon has had its shine for decades now, all cause y'all refuse to draw a black princess. Well, when you actually have an original black princess and you're not trying to race swap a legacy character, then make your complaint. Don't just race swap somebody just to say you can. It's like, it's like at Sabila Stella simply asked, girl, why? Oh, boy. Taking notice of the backlash, Kami Lu eventually returned to her piece to elaborate that while they did, quote, respect both Ariel's canons, unquote, they, quote, really wanted to see Ariel from my childhood in this moment. So I decided to draw this. Okay, let me tell you something, Kami. You're not the problem. Don't let them tell you that you're the problem, okay? Now, granted, I don't know if Kami Lu here will ever see this video. But if you do, let me give you this personal message. You did nothing wrong. Do not let these nut jobs, do not let these nut jobs tell you otherwise. You did nothing wrong. They're the ones who are being wrong here. Unsurprisingly, this did little to quell the outrage mounting against the artist. Yeah, don't even respond to these people because they're idiots. Citing two complimentary tweets given to the fan art, they were liked by Kami Lu. One from Take a Latte Tete, opining, quote, the original version of this scene makes Ariel look gray. The colors are much better, and the in brackets here way red hair and original colors fit are more than perfect. Fortunately, art exists, unquote. And another from Preda King 29, proudly declaring, quote, this is my Ariel. So she did get some support too. Does sound like she did get some support. The OG, unquote. So that's good to see. At LCV Vidor proclaimed, quote, people saying that we're reaching about this being questionable when these are the type of comments that the artist is liking, and there are plenty more, unquote. Quote, clearly this is not being done out of love for Hallie's Ariel and just love for animated Ariel, they speculate. Whatever. All right, so maybe he wasn't. Screen capping another tweet from the Shuka, in which they beamed, quote, Canon Ariel is so beautiful, unquote. At Isavador added, quote, like who is Canon Ariel? Hallie's Ariel is canon. Why is the artist liking replies like this? Well, I would say that they're two separate canons. Okay, I'd say that there's the animated canon and then there's the live action canon because obviously they decided to race swap Ariel to push an agenda. So a lot of these crybabies can cry. You know, so quote, while this drawing is cute, it's simply done in bad faith, unquote, um at some who at some horror walk oh god. At summer horror walker, okay. again. Again. Some of these names these people come up with. Summer Horror Walker. Okay. Oh, man. Asserted, quote, like considering you haven't drawn Hallie's Ariel at all, you liking comments on this post about, quote, about in smaller quotes, my Ariel, canon Ariel, which is weird, then took animated Ariel and put her in Hallie's scene. Just a little weird. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have that problem if you weren't trying to race swap stuff just to like play identity politics. Oh, like it's giving racism but I'm not even gonna go all out and drag the artist in. I think it's supposed to be in, but it's another typo. They further stated, quote, just wanted to make it clear that this post and the intention behind it, whether good or not, is weird AF. No, the weird thing about it is how you're all responding to it. The weird thing is how you're all responding to it. The fact is, you're just once again proving that you should be straight-jacket, locked in a rubber room somewhere so you can all bang your heads into rubber walls. After nearly 3 days of constant backlash, Kamilu eventually issued a statement responding to their critics. However, rather than apologizing, I think it's supposed to be rather than apologizing, the artists instead stood by their artistic decisions. Good for you. Glad to hear it. Quote, maybe I should clarify a few things, unquote, opened the artist on June 1st. Quote, liking some comments, I relied on the view from the artist. In the film, the undersea world really seemed dull and gray to me. But this is not the fault of the actors, black or white, either, unquote. Quote, it's just that my eye, like an artist, like more saturated colors, unquote. They explained, quote, I am not responsible for the double meaning that some of the comments seem to carry. In this matter, I am really not quite a competent person due to my poor knowledge of English. For that, I really apologize. So they're apologizing for Kamilu, so English is obviously not their first language. But Lou, let's see, Lou, I don't know if that's like, I think it's obviously an Asian name. If this is an Asian artist, yeah, they're not going to put as much stock in the whole SJW agenda that the West does. Quote, I have never intended to offend or humiliate the black community in any way, unquote, at Kamilu continued. Quote, I have actually always positioned myself as an open artist for racial diversity. In parentheses here, this can be seen in my OCs, Black Asians and Native Americans, that I do not draw them. That I do not draw them every day doesn't make me a racist. Unquote. That's why I really don't understand the negativity and targeted bullying in the replies. Unquote. Because these people have nothing better to do with their. Unfortunately, Kami, it's because these people don't have anything better to do with their lives than just bully people online. They're pathetic. They can't figure out anything positive to talk about or anything. Now for me, yes, I'm being critical here, but I'm being critical of the situation. You know, that's a little bit different than just going off and just lambasting somebody for no reason. I'm going on the comments here and critiquing them. So that's kind of a difference there. Quote, at the same time, I respect the opinions of everyone and the fact that you may not like my art, unquote, the artist concluded. Quote, this is fine, but let's respect each other and not call to hate each other because we are all people and every person is wonderful regardless of skin color, etc. Amen. Like before, at Kamilu's second statement was dismissed by the outrage mob, with its members continuing to level unfounded conspiracy level accusations of racism against the artist. And again, Kami, if you're watching this, just stop responding to these people. Getting into a conversation with these clowns is not gonna help, is not gonna do you any good. Okay, it's fine if you wanted to explain it once or twice, but if they continue after that, just let it go because it's not worth it. It's not worth getting into twit fights. It's absolutely not worth getting into twit fights. That's part of the reason why I actually gave up my Twitter account because I didn't like getting into twit fights. So, yeah, anyways. Quote, as an artist, I like more saturated colors, unquote, is the dumbest attempt at backpedal I've ever heard, unquote. Self-aggrandizingly bleated at Diet Black Pre-Med, um, quote, WTF you were doing with this. Art with black people can be made just as quote unquote saturated and even more saturated, e.g., Harmonia Rosales, Kalinda Wiley, Tanya Rivelis, all three black artists, except, well, the only thing is, though, is that, yeah, she preferred the original animated version from back in the 90s as opposed to the current one, okay? And she even commented that her piece is more in response to the scenes, not necessarily the characters. So now we're getting pretty dark. So I'm gonna need to one more time adjust some lighting here. I'll be right back here. All right. So, anyways, all right. So let's so as an artist, quote, I like more saturated colors, unquote, is okay. But, oh, that's a tweet. That's the actual tweet she was quoting from. Anyways, this is just so over the top stupid here. Uh, you know, um, so now we're at the 43-minute mark. So I think it's time to start winding down a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the wrestling wrap up. I thank you guys for being here thus far. So at least on the WWE front, it looks like there's a couple of changes in terms of characters that people are looking at as a um, in terms of so it looks like right now, it looks like the WWF is considering turning Bianca Belair and the Street Profits, Montez Ford, Angela Dawkins, heel, and they're possibly making a slight move towards Io Sky face and giving a singles run. It's been reported that Paul Levesque, aka Hunter Assembly, aka Triple H, has been big on Io Sky's talent. Well, that's probably the main thing that came out of the WWE today. On the AEW front, in the lead, of course, in the lead up to this weekend's debut of Collision, last night's Dynamite saw saw Adam Cole and MJF go to a time limit draw in a world title eliminator match. Now, here's the thing. It's a tricky thing. This match ended up in a time limit draw, but Cole had MJF beat. Okay. Now, I think it still means that since he didn't win the match, therefore Cole will not be getting a title shot anytime in the future. Now, there was some controversy too. I guess I don't know if it was during the match or before or after the match. MJF went out and slapped a fan in the crowd, and people weren't sure if that was a work or a shoot. But anyway, so Adam Cole and MJF went to a draw in the world title eliminator match, 30-minute time limit draw. The team of Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Keith Lee, and Sting defeated the Mogul Embassy in an 8-man tag in a pretty solid match. Wardlow retained the TNT title over Jake Hager, the Jericho Appreciation Society, despite attempted interference by Matt Menard and Angelo Parker of the JAS. Tony Storm retained the world title over Sky Blue, who had won the opportunity to challenge Tony Storm tonight. And the Elite defeated the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, again, they packed this show because, in the hopes of building towards both this weekend's Collision event as well as Forbidden Door. So thus far signed for well, I do know slated as the main event right now is going to be a 6-man tag on this Saturday's Collision. It's going to be a Samoa Joe teaming up with Bullet Club Gold of Juice Robinson and Jay White, taking on the returning CM Punk and AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR. Also, Wardlow will be defending the TNT title again against Luchasaurus this Saturday night. A couple other returns also, aside from CM Punk's, as Miro will be making his return to AEW after not having been on for a while. His opponent has yet to be determined. And Andrade El Idolo will be taking on 1/3 of the AEW World Trios Tag Team Champions, Buddy Matthews. And another match that was set up last night in the aftermath of the women's title match, Sky Blue will be teaming with New Japan strong open weight women's champion Willow Nightingale, take on 2 members of the Outcast, Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. So that's going on for that. And then, of course, for Forbidden Door coming up next Saturday, I believe. Or maybe next Sunday. Let's see. Actually, next Sunday, 25th. Previously signed, of course, you had Kenny Omega defending the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship against Will Ospreay. And then Bryan Danielson in what many are calling a dream match will be taking on Kazuchika Okada. Also signed last night, MJF will be defending the world title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Jack Perry will get a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight title against Sonata. Orange Cassidy will be defending the AEW International title against New Japan Television Champion Zack Sabre Jr. So that's all coming up in the next couple weeks here and then of course I know that there's a big 6-man tag match signed for Friday's Rampage, in which it's a mixed trios match in which you have on one side you have Jeff and Karen Jarrett teaming with Jay Lethal to take on Aubrey Edwards and Mark and Papa Briscoe. So that's going down. So now So now for tonight's Impact, Wrestling. Let's see what's going on there. For those of you who might want to watch Impact Wrestling, tell you what's coming up, particularly coming off of the Against All Odds pay-per-view. So on tonight's Impact, it's already initially. Let's see, Rick Swan is taking on Moose, and you have in a non-title tag team match, the Impact World Tag Team Champions ABC, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay taking on Decay, Black Taurus, and Crazy Steve. So that's something to look forward to tonight. And with that now, as we're at the 51-minute mark, now we're going to really start to wind down here. Today being Thursday, June 15th, 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in Neat's history. So first off, we're going to head back 40 years ago today. As on this date, 40 years ago today, the 25th issue of Amazing Heroes from Fantagraphics went on sale on this date back in 1983. It sold for $2.95 for the 112 pages and features the story of Star Wars comic strip reprints and Starhawk's. The lady's name is Frost. So on this date, 40 years ago today, the 25th issue of Amazing Heroes from Fantagraphics went on sale on this date back in 1983. So, anyways, moving on to on this date in 1998, which was 25 years ago today. I'm sorry, not 1998, 2003. So 20 years ago today. I'm sorry. I was thinking yesterday for some reason. But on this date, 20 years ago today, Bad Blood, WWE put on Bad Blood from the Compact Center in Houston, Texas. So the Bad Blood pay-per-view happened from Houston, Texas. A main event saw Triple H retain the World Heavyweight Championship over Kevin Nash in a Hell in a Cell match, in which Mick Foley served as guest referee. Ric Flair defeated Shawn Michaels. Goldberg defeated Chris Jericho. La Resistance became the new World Tag Team Champions, defeating Rob Van Dam and Kane. Booker T won via disqualification in an Intercontinental Championship match over Christian. Scott Steiner defeated Test for Stacy Keibler's managerial services. And then Rodney Mack and Christopher Nowinski defeated the Dudley Boys. And in the Sunday Night Heat match, Ivory defeated Molly Holly. So there we go with that one. And now, finally, the last piece in each history happened just 10 years ago today. And on this date, 10 years ago today, on Disney XD, 41 Entertainment's Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures debuted on Disney XD on this date 10 years ago today. So 41 Entertainment's Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures premiered on this date 10 years ago today. So there we go with that. I thank everybody for being here tonight. So tomorrow night I have Rex from Devil Flyer hopefully coming in. He'll be co-hosting with me for the historical comic retrospect. We'll be looking back. Of course, we'll be finishing up our coverage of October of 1939, in which we will be looking at, we'll be going over Comic-Con Parade Volume 1, number 15. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.